difficult to go in like, you know, out of the ring for 14 months, just look and just be razor sharp with a guy running. And so, yeah, probably 2 or 3 rounds more than expected. But
nobody expected this fight to unfold the way it did, and that's the truth. When Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul was announced, the real question wasn't about the winner, it was about how quickly it would be over. 1 round, maybe 2 if AJ decided to drag it out. But what actually happened stunned the boxing world. Jake Paul didn't simply hang on. He forced the bout into uncomfortable territory, going 6 full rounds and making some of the most respected figures in combat sports pause and reassess everything they believed.
This sport has helped me so much in my life. I think my jaw is broken, by the way, so yeah. Let's go! It's definitely broke. But man, that was good. Nice little ass whooping from one of the best to ever do it. So I love this shit, and I'm gonna come back and get a world championship belt at some point.
The reactions from the pros were all over the place. Some mocked it, some showed Jake Paul respect, and others walked away disappointed. Ryan Garcia was among the first major names to react online, and he started exactly how people expected, by trolling Jake, saying he kept running from Anthony Joshua and claiming that Gervonta Tank Davis would have done more damage than Joshua did. That comment alone quietly opened the door to a potential future matchup. Still, even while joking, Ryan gave Jake credit, admitting that lasting 6 rounds with AJ is no small feat. Then Logan Paul weighed in, and his take felt different. He didn't twist the narrative or soften the loss. He flat out said this was still a win for Jake. Going 6 rounds with Anthony Joshua, suffering multiple knockdowns, and taking clean heavyweight shots is something most fighters wouldn't even dare to try. The biggest shock came when Logan revealed that Jake broke his jaw during the fight, a detail that immediately changed how people viewed the final rounds. Eddie Hearn's reaction may have been the most straightforward of all. He fully expected Anthony Joshua to finish the fight within 2 rounds. That was the original game plan. But afterward, Eddie openly admitted he was surprised the bout stretched to 6. He highlighted that Jake absorbed shots many of AJ's real boxing opponents wouldn't have handled, while also giving Joshua some grace, explaining that the long layoff meant he needed time to shake off the ring rust.
I'm just so proud of him. That was incredible. In my view, that was a victory on all fronts.
Right.
Like, minus the actual victory, of course, but bro, like, no one expected him to last 6 rounds with AJ. In my opinion, he won 4 of them. People will argue that he at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet, who's 40 pounds heavier than him and 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet. My brother, as a fucking YouTuber, went 6 rounds with him fighting with a broken jaw and rolled ankle. I'm so proud of him. That was just unbelievable.
I saw you talking crap to AJ at one point.
I'm trying to get his head. I think I pissed him off. I was just saying, fuck that shit. I love AJ.
Yeah.
But bro,
I saw you going them.
I was talking so much. But I just pissed him off. Then he broke my brother's jaw. Fuck this guy.
Broke his jaw, huh?
Yeah, his jaw is fucked. You know? He don't care though. Jake's having a fucking blast.
Yeah. We'll see him back again for sure?
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, Logan.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys.
Appreciate you, brother.
Chris Eubank Jr. didn't overcomplicate it and kept his take short and direct. He said Jake deserves respect simply for getting in the ring with an Olympic gold medalist. Anderson Silva followed with his own perspective, saying it's time people start taking Jake Paul seriously because his growth is impossible to ignore. He pointed out this wasn't Nate Robinson, Ben Askren, or even Tyron Woodley. This was Anthony Joshua. Jake went from facing retired MMA fighters to standing across from a future Hall of Fame heavyweight. And that kind of progression actually means something.
Good fight. Yeah, good fight. Listen, respect to Jake. You know, he was a tough guy in there. Obviously, he moved a lot and made it difficult for AJ. And AJ's been out of the ring for a while. He's a bit rusty. It took him time to just get hold of him, but I was impressed with Jake. And listen, as I said to Nikisa, at the end of the day, he took shots that a lot of people would have got knocked out, clean out by, especially at the end, you know? So, yeah.
Was it frustrating for you to watch?
No, I mean, maybe, like, obviously, when someone's moving like that, like, it's going to take you a while to get hold of them, and when they're rugby tackling you, but he had to do what he had to do to survive, and he did that. So, you know, it's very difficult to go in, like, you know, out the ring for 14 months and just be razor sharp with a guy running. And so, yeah, probably 2 or 3 rounds more than expected. But fair play to Jake Paul. He was a lot tougher than I thought, and he took a lot more shots than I thought he could.
The MMA community responded with a split reaction. Nate Diaz weighed in, Mike Perry had his say, and opinions were all over the place. Some laughed it off, others gave Jake credit, and a few dismissed it entirely. But one thing was clear: nobody in the MMA world stayed quiet about it. Andre Ward delivered one of the sharpest takes on the fight. He said Jake's approach didn't surprise him at all, turning it into a gritty slugfest, tying up and dragging Anthony Joshua into a slower pace. It was pure survival boxing, and while it held up longer than anyone expected, it only worked until it finally didn't.
Wow, I think the Jake doing an amazing job, you know, and the big responsibility is for Joshua, not for Jake, you know, but the people need to respect Jake, you know, and imagining Jake little big and having more time to training for this fight. You know, I think Jake improved a lot. The people need to respect him. I don't say that only because I'm fight here in a company, but it's because Jake, the people need to respect Jake, you know.
Raleigh Romero kept it short, but meaningful, saying Jake Paul has real heart. At this stage, there's no debate. You don't get dropped 3 times by Anthony Joshua and keep standing without it. Ariel Helwani may have wrapped it up best, calling it something Jake should view as a win. The pressure was never on Jake, it was on AJ. Everyone expected Joshua to steamroll him, yet instead, he had to grind. Ariel also noted that AJ chased the knockout rather than staying composed, which ended up making the fight tougher than it ever needed to be. Joseph Parker also shared his thoughts after the fight, and his view was clear and direct. He said Anthony Joshua did exactly what was required. He wore Jake Paul down and ultimately secured the knockout. Parker added that it wasn't realistic to expect AJ to finish it much sooner, pointing out that Jake spent most of the fight circling, clinching, and avoiding extended exchanges.
I expected Jake to fight the way he fought.
Right.
You know, trying to stay away. You don't know if he's gonna, how long that's gonna last. You know, Joshua has something to say about that. So you don't know, but I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised.
Right. Were you, I don't know, impressed by anything Jake did? Maybe getting, I mean, he took a right hand to heavyweight to take it.
The constant clinching clearly frustrated Joshua's team, as they were aiming for a knockout, yet Jake kept tying AJ up whenever he got near. Eddie Hearn later elaborated on this, explaining how it disrupted Joshua's rhythm and made executing his plan far more difficult than expected. From the very first bell, Anthony Joshua showed up just as anticipated, aggressive, heavy-handed, and determined to land the knockout. He wasn't there to dazzle with technique. He aimed to make a statement. Jake, however, quickly made it clear this wouldn't be a highlight reel stoppage. He tied up early, shifted his weight, and denied AJ any clean openings.
To me, the fact that Jake went 6 rounds, I think he should view as a moral victory. Sounds like he's proud of himself. Do I think it was the greatest fight of all time? Of course not. Was I expecting the greatest fight of all time? Of course not. Honestly, up until the walkouts, I was like, I can't even believe that this is still happening. I can't believe that this is a real thing that's about to, unfold in front of our eyes. There was a lot of pressure, I think, on Anthony's shoulders for 2 reasons. He's coming off a knockout loss. I don't think that was discussed enough in the lead up to this fight. When you are coming off a knockout loss, you are a little bit tentative, gun shy. You remember it, and he had not fought since then, and it was 15 or so months ago. And so I think he was very worried about slipping on a banana peel, about screwing up for boxing and screwing up for his legacy. And then I thought that he was headhunting a little bit, and that's not really his style, and he was swinging and missing, and I thought that was getting to him a little bit. Do I think he was playing with his food? No, there were a couple times where he was going to the body, and I was like, why aren't you going to the head? The head is open.
The first knockdown didn't shock anyone, followed by the second and third. Each time, viewers expected the fight to end, yet Jake rose again. That's when the fight's tone began to shift. Joshua started showing frustration. He wasn't accustomed to an opponent lasting this long under so much pressure. Jake even had his moments, landing a clean shot that forced AJ to reset, not stumble or panic, just reset. That alone stunned onlookers, as it became clear this wouldn't be a one-round exhibition. AJ also realized the narrative would follow him, no matter the outcome.
I thought Joshua did what he had to do.
Right.
It took him a while to get it, but he had to break him down and chase him down and unleash his powerful shot.
What was it? Was it a little too long to get done, or?
Yeah, listen, when you fight someone like that, who moves around a lot, then you have to try and pick your moments, pick your shots.
Yeah.
That's what he did, so congratulations to Joshua.
Man, and credit to Jake Paul, right, for even taking the challenge.
He's a very gutsy man.
Yeah. So, he got up, 3 times? I mean, you felt that power. Are you impressed that he lasted?
But eventually, reality set in. Joshua adapted, pushed past the clinches, and by round 6, the punishment was overwhelming. Jake went down and couldn't make the count. Fight over.
Respect to Jake Paul that we took a few rounds to get going because Jake was moving a lot and holding a lot, and it was difficult to nail him clean, I think. But eventually AJ took his time, cut him off, and smashed him about. And listen, respect to Jake Paul, because that last shot, I know he shattered his jaw, but it would have knocked most heavyweights out. So I've got to give him credit.
I was going to say, in the end, are you pleased with that? Because obviously everyone was saying this has to go early, this, that, and the other. But it's awkward when you've got a fighter who's moving a lot.
We knew he'd move. I didn't expect him to move that much. But listen, he didn't just run. He threw at times. Mm-hmm. It wasn't, but early on, very difficult to cut the ring off against someone that's moving so much. But also the rustiness of 15 months out, But also, you've got to give Jake credit because, like I said, he took a lot of punishment in there at the end, and the last right hand was a huge right hand. Mm-hmm. It would have knocked most heavyweights out. So,
Once it was all over, Anthony Joshua made his intentions unmistakably clear. Defeating Jake Paul was never the ultimate goal. It was about sending a message. Immediately after the knockout, AJ shifted focus to Tyson Fury, calling him out and signaling to everyone that this fight was always about what's next.
Fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you that, Jake, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna see a time when I'm gonna take your soul and you're either gonna give up or you're gonna get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct, you just will never be a good fighter. So I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start. But as we saw, tonight, Jake has spirit. He has some heart. He tried his best, and I take my hat off to him because, number one, a lot of fighters haven't got in the ring with me, and Jake did. And secondly, even when he got knocked down, he kept on trying to get up, and I take my hat off to him.
That's why Joshua had been training with Usyk, pushing himself to the highest level. This wasn't about preparing for a YouTuber. It was about reshaping himself for the biggest heavyweight showdown. Jake Paul was just the hurdle in front of him. Tyson Fury is the target. This fight served as the warm-up, while the real battle is what AJ has his sights on next.
Who works with Usyk, and he invited me down to their training camp. Ultimately, just to do some rounds. There was nothing more to it, but our schedules didn't align at the time. And I then spoke to Tom Hall, who's a good friend of mine, and he said, look, let's try and find some time in your schedule. Put boxing first and go out there. They're a very good team. You want to win, they're winners. If you want to win, surround yourself with winners. Spoke to Eddie, spoke to family, everyone said it's a good idea. I was initially going to go out there for 2 weeks. That turned into 3 months. That turned into a fight. And long may it continue. It's been a really good experience, a really good eye-opener. And I think I can definitely do more. I done well at becoming 2-time heavyweight champion of the world. But I think if I would have known what it takes, I think I would have been undisputed.
That's a wrap for today's video. If you liked what you saw, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell icon so you never miss our future uploads. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.